It's time for the weekly sports page with the dynamic David Coleman. Stay tuned for thrills, chills, and yes, spills. Oh yeah, and a whole lot of other great stuff. Call 855-525-5683. Tweet your questions at Dynamic Sports PA or Facebook. Drop a line on Dynamic Weekly Sports Show. Sit back, relax, and groove while Dynamic drops sports in your ear hole.
Nebraska wins the game on the final play of the contest. Oh, baby! How about that? Jacked up indeed.
Are you kidding me?
That's gonna keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow!
Now here's Dynamic David Coleman.
Good morning. It is your Saturday morning. Welcome to the Weekly Sports Magazine. We're here every Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on joynetradio.com. Don't forget to hit us up on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram because, yes, we do post our shows to Instagram as well. You can also catch us on Spotify, and now we do the video. So a lot of people said, hey, when you going to do a video? We got video. People are getting some response. We're liking it. Make sure you like and share and support the show. Also, if you're a sponsor and you want to sponsor some shows, you got an event coming up that you want to get on the air, by all means, let me know. We'll start talking about it. We'll cut you a spot. We'll write it professionally for you. I'll let you do it or I'll do it. It doesn't matter. Or I've even got my daughter-in-law who has a fantastic voice. She can do it as well. Okay? So that's what we've got on there as far as you getting in touch with us. By the way, if you want to, hit me up on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Send me an email at weeklysportsmagazine@gmail.com if you've got a show topic. We'd love to hear from you as well on that. All right? So let me tell you what we've got for the show today. We're going to talk some NFL, okay? CBS News, or I should say CBS Sportsline, has named their Player of the Year and MVP. Some of them are not a surprise. This is not the official, but that has happened. So we'll go with their list. We should be getting the official list here in the coming days, so I'll keep you updated on that. Also, we're also going to recap last week's games, the AFC and NFC Championship games. There's been a lot of frustration, particularly about the Chiefs and the Ravens game, and I'll tell you why. Also, we're going to talk about the Lions and the 49ers. Let's be realistic. Most people would argue that this is not the Super Bowl that they wanted. I think people don't want to see the 49ers and people don't want to see the Chiefs. Regardless of how good these teams are, I think people just wanted a change. Just listening, well, a lot of people were upset, but for different reasons, let's put it that way. So we're going to talk about that. Certainly, let's see what else as far as NFL is concerned. Oh, we're going to talk about the coaching hires. There were a couple of names out there that didn't get hired, which really was a surprise. And I think it speaks volumes. And I'm going to tell you my take on it, why those two people did not get a job. And one may not. We'll see what happens as we go forward as well. And there's already a list that has been published of potential new coaches or coaching hires next year. I think there's about 11 on them. We might go over that list today as well. Let's see, what else? We're going to talk a little NBA. Word is now that we've had, a little more of a week to digest the firing of the Milwaukee Bucks head coach Adrian Griffin, things are coming out. And if you go out to the Weekly Sports Magazine page, you will see one of the problems. And I mentioned this a little bit last week, but the boy can't play. Why is he on a roster? If you don't know who I'm talking about, y'all stay tuned. I'm gonna break that down for you here in just a little bit. NBA trade rumors. The trade deadline is February 8th. That's just next week. By the time we get to next week's show, we'll have an idea of who those people may or may not be. And I'm going to ask the question. I know it's blasphemy, and you all know I'm a big fan of his. Is it time for the Lakers to trade LeBron James? I'm not a Lakers fan, but is it time for them to trade him? I'm just wondering. And we might get into a little bit of Embiid as well. Why is it this guy won't play in Denver? It's not making any sense. I'm a 76er fan. I'm not understanding why he won't play in Denver. It doesn't make any sense to me. All right. So that's what we've got on the agenda today. Jam-packed show as always. Don't forget, if you'd like to sponsor the show, hit me up. We'd love to get you as one of the sponsors of the show. So please give me a call at 615-554-0568. And don't forget to like, share, and support this show. All right. And you can go out to YouTube and do that as well. Okay. So here's the deal. As you know, every Saturday morning, we got to speak to people. You know, you wake up. Most people follow me on Saturday mornings, expect the show. Then thank you for following me. So I'm going to speak to you. So right off the bat, a guy who's been following me, we've been friends for years, played college football together, and that's Roy Williams. We're going to start in Arkansas, in L-Dog. Y'all know where I'm talking about. Sophia Nicely, who else? Josie, who else down there? Sandra. All of you guys that I got to know when I was down in Magnolia. Good morning and welcome. And of course, Roy Williams. He listens to the show every morning. Good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Really appreciate you joining the show. And all the other people down in Waldo and Stamps, Arkansas, and Southeast Arkansas. Good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Going up to Little Rock, all my friends in Little Rock, Myron, what's happening? Welcome to the weekly sports magazine. The Hudson, Sam, Dwayne, and Aaron, good morning. Welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Want to shout out to Sabrina. Good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Jackie Carter, good morning. Welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Krista Porter, good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. All of you guys down there. JC Love, good morning. Welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Appreciate you joining the show and certainly appreciate all the support you've given me in this transition as well. Because without Joynet Radio, then we would not, well, we'd still be broadcasting, but it would be on a different platform. But it's a lot easier for a lot of you all to just tune in to Joynet Radio. And don't forget to support Joynet Radio as well. Okay, let's see where we're going. Well, since we're in that area, let's go on down to Nolans. Let's say bon temps roulette. Let the good times roll. Hey, y'all know what's about to happen, right? Mardi Gras. It's going to be crazy. Let me give you a hint. If you've never been to Mardi Gras, you owe yourself to go one time. Okay? You owe, and I will tell you that it is nothing today like it was back in the day. I'm just going to leave that as is. But it's coming up, Fat Tuesday, all of that stuff. Make sure y'all go check it out. So y'all have a good time and be safe. But just be careful. All right. Let's go down to Atlanta and talk to Stephanie Bunnick. Good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. By the way, let me go back and Linda Jackson from Little Rock. Saw a picture, girlfriend. You look beautiful. Welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Let's see who else. Stephanie Bunnick in Atlanta and all my friends down there. Welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Going up the East Coast, and we got to come right back to the DMV doers. Good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Good luck to my daughter-in-law today at a black shopping event where she's selling. By the way, skintentional.com. Go out and check it out. Just do it. Okay, just go check it out. And by the way, man, y'all need to start buying some stuff from my daughter-in-law. She's got a good product, and I wouldn't be advertising it on the show if I didn't think she did. So please go out and support skintentional.com. She'll ship it to you as well. And shout out to the Colemans here. Of course, Akili, Sonetta, Serenity, and Justice, who I get to spend so much beautiful time with my G-baby. She just makes me smile. She really does. I love her to death. So good morning, G-Baby, and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Larry Ridley enjoys it. Good morning. Welcome to the weekly sports magazine. My daughter in Chicago, Illinois, Sierra Coleman. Good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Coming back down to Tennessee, let's go to Bowling Green, Kentucky, and let's holler at Dwight. Good morning, man. How are you doing? Welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Appreciate you joining the show. Let's go down to Cash Vegas, Nashville, Tennessee, place where I went to get rich and famous. I say that all the time. I actually didn't. I actually moved up there with another job, and it just so happens that because of my radio background, I fell into a sports show, a daily sports show with Morning Drive, WNSR, AM 560. My good buddy Greg Poe, good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Jason Hotel in Nash Vegas, good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Appreciate you joining the show as well. Back west on I-40, I got to holler at my folks in Memphis. That's actually where I got my radio started, WHBQ, AM 560. Also the University of Memphis. Well, actually, back then it was Memphis State. Did jazz. I did gospel. I did all kinds of stuff back in the day when I got my career started. And hey, it has paid off tremendously. So I appreciate that. So I want to holler at the good folks in Memphis. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. My buddy Odell Johnson in Memphis. Big shout out to you. Welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Still going west on 40 as we travel through Little Rock, catching up I-30, going, by the way, Mayor Frank Scott in Little Rock, good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Going down I-30 towards Dallas, the DFW area where most of my darn high school is, and a lot of my college buddies are there. Good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Appreciate you joining the show as well. San Antonio, my favorite city in Texas. Good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. And going down and hollering at my boy Kenneth Muntz. Hey, Money. Good morning in Houston, Texas. You know what I like to do? Houston. Yeah, that's an old Johnny Cash song. Yeah, so y'all didn't know I knew country music. Yeah, I do. All right. Welcome to the weekly sports magazine. John Collins out in Phoenix, Arizona. Good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Dr. Rosie Milligan and Black Riders on Tour in Los Angeles. Good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. And all my friends in Southern, or I should say Northern California, including Idris and all of those guys, good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. So, hey, if I missed you, send me an email and say, Dave, you didn't give me a shout out this week, and I'll make sure that I give you a shout out next week. So we've talked a lot about what we're going to do today. And I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and jump into some of the headlines. And I want to start off, and we're going to start off with some NFL, because since it was last week, I do want to talk a little bit about the AFC and NFC Championship games last week. And we might as well start with the Ravens and the Chiefs. Before the teams were decided, I felt like that the team that scared me the most when coming up against the Ravens was the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't care what anyone says, you cannot discount Patrick Mahomes. And I said that. I would have rather played, if I'm the Ravens, now I'm not the Ravens, but I would have rather played the Buffalo Bills. I think you matched up better. I think you have a quarterback that is prone to mistakes. And I think the Ravens would have won that game. I was nervous about the Chiefs, and I was shocked that it was a 4.5 point spread and the Chiefs were the underdog. I just didn't see that. I wanted the Ravens to win, but in my heart of hearts, I kind of knew the Chiefs were probably going to win that game, and they did. There were some issues with that game. First of all, let me start with the officiating. I am not one of those people who complain about officiating, but I'm going to tell you, I think anyone who has watched the league this year, the officiating has been horrendous. And some say, well, you can say that every year, but I mean, just blown calls. You go back to the Detroit-Dallas game, it's just been horrendous. I'm going to say one thing. Now, I know they don't review penalties, but they're going to have to do a better job. Many of you all may not know that NFL officials are basically part-time. They make enough money now, in my opinion, where they can be full-time. They make enough money. And when you look at that game last week, and when you really began to break down the tape, you begin to realize that there were some serious issues as it relates to the Baltimore Ravens. Okay? Now, let's be honest. The game plan wasn't that great, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But the officiating was probably the worst because you go back and look at some of the holding, the pass interference calls that were not called for the Baltimore Ravens. And see, the problem you have with this, I want to believe the league is a great league. I've watched the league. God, man, I fell in love with the Ravens, or the Raiders, I should say, back in the 60s. I remember George Blanda and Daryl LaMonica. And I don't expect these guys to be perfect. But when there are obvious calls and you miss them, what it does is it bleeds into the mantra of a lot of people now who are calling the league rigged. And that's the last thing that the NFL needs, particularly when you've got this gambling component that is everywhere now. That's the last thing this league needs. But when you look at some of these calls, when you look at what happened in Detroit, when you look at what happened in the AFC game where there was some obvious pass interference calls that wasn't called for the Ravens, but there were calls made for the Chiefs, you began to wonder. Now, I'm not trying to fall into this, this conspiracy crap that a lot of people are pushing. I'm not doing that at all. I'm just saying the league needs to do a better job. And the only way that you can really do that, it's time to start hiring full-time officials. Long overdue. I don't know why they won't do it. I don't know if it's because of pay, but I'm just curious. All right, let me do this because these guys make good money. All right. So let me just ask the question here. How much does an NFL ref make? I used to know this a while back. Let's see. So basically, considering an average NFL referee salary is $205,000, and there are 17 games per season, that means on average, referees are earning about $12,000 per game. Hello? That doesn't include the playoffs. Because if your team, because there are refs that have teams, if your team or if you are one of those refs that is chosen to referee the playoffs or the Super Bowl, you get extra bonuses. So let me ask you a question. You mean to tell me that a guy or a young woman, because there are now female referees as well, they can't live off of $205,000 a year? Why are you still dealing with part-time referees? It makes no sense to me. And I think that's the frustration with a lot of people, is that it makes no sense that you have part-time referees and there's so much on the line. And I don't understand why they won't change this. This year was terrible. It got to the point where some of the games were unwatchable for me because you felt like that the fix was in. Now, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think the NFL is fixed. Now, there's been a guy on Facebook and Twitter who has been breaking down a lot of these games, and that's his argument. And it's scary to think that the league doesn't get this. Okay? Even though there may not be true, you've got to have, particularly now, for a long time, and even now, the league will punish these players if they're found out to be betting on games, and rightfully so. Okay? Some players had to sit out 3, 4, 5, 6 games because they were found to be placing bets on games, and even not their games, but games for other people in the league. So, why don't you have full-time refs? I don't understand this. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And when you go back, and certainly, as I said, they're not going to catch everything. But I think if you have full-time refs who are working every day to better their craft, as opposed to guys who are attorneys, who are lawyers, and have all other professions. Because if you go and you look at some of the professions, I mean, they have admirable professions. Look, I'm not mad at them about it. But that $205,000 is a lot of money that you can pay one group of people that can be your full-time referees year in and year out, game in and game out. And then you can have a league, or I should say a group, a pool that you can use to pick other referees. So if someone is sick, I don't know what the total amount that they have as far as referees total, but you look at it, if you've got, well, it's pretty simple to calculate. You know, if you've got 17 games and what is a crew of referees, you got a minimum of 6 per game. So you're talking about 17 times 6. The question is, are you telling? And that's every week. Now that we've got the bye, that kind of stops that. But the question is, why are you still hiring these guys? Okay, so you're talking about if it's 6 referees, and it's a typical of what is. You got 17 games. Well, you got 17 weeks, and typically you've got 8 to 9 games a week. Okay, so if you got, let's say you got 8 games, that's 48 refs that you need to cover all those games. I think it's a total of 6. I'll double check that in the break. So why can't you just hire 60 referees? Okay. Because you've got to have some that stand by in case someone gets hit, someone gets injured. So why don't you just hire 60 refs? Okay. Well, let's say you need 8. All right. 8 games a week. That's 64. So let's you have a pool of 75 men and women. I don't see why that's that hard. I just don't. Y'all help a brother out here. Because this is not making any sense. And I don't care what the league says. And Roger Goodell can get on out to press conferences and make statements about the statements that he doesn't say about the refs speaks volumes of what he should say about the refs. Okay? Now look, I didn't have a dog in the hunt last week, but I do want to see a clean game. And not only that, I also want stuff to be called when they were. If it's a penalty in the first period, it should be a penalty in the fourth period. If it's a penalty in the second period, it should be a penalty in the last 2 minutes of a game. This swallowing your whistle, and I hear a lot of sportscasters talk about this. Oh, they shouldn't have made that call. That was well. If it's a penalty, it's a penalty, and it shouldn't matter if you made the call or not. I'm just saying. 855-525-5683 is the number. When we come back, we're going to look, just take a look at those 2 games from last week, because to me there were some problems, and there were certainly some problems in the Baltimore game. I'm still not understanding what the hell happened with that coaching staff. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave.
Hi, I'm David W. Coleman, host of Black Focus Radio and the Weekly Sports Magazine. We here at joinnetradio.com would like to thank you for all the love and support you've given us. Our goal is to keep you inspired and informed daily with quality programming from gospel music, news, talk, and sports. Log on to joinnetradio.com for the program lineup, and while there, be sure to make a donation. Then download our app and carry us anywhere in the world. Please continue continue to spread the word about jointedradio.com. And if you are an entrepreneur or have an upcoming event or you'd like to start a show, let the professional writers and producers here at jointedradio.com help you get the word out. Call me at 615-554-0568 for more details. In the meantime, stay informed and inspired daily right here on jointedradio.com.
David W. Coleman here for Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub and Rib Nuts. Go to ribrub.com, that's RIBBRUBB.com right now, and stock up on the best dry marinades for baking, grilling, and smoking your favorite meats. 3 great flavors, hot and spicy, original, and scorching. Try them at your next cookout and you will shout, bake it, grill it, shake it, oh yeah! Only one place to get Coleman's Dynamic products, that's ribrub.com. Easy to order, and I'll ship direct to you or to friends and family anywhere in the United States. While on the site, be sure to check out other great items, especially the rib nuts. Who'd have thunk it? Peanuts sauteed in a barbecue marinade? That's just crazy good. Get them at ribrub.com right now, along with other great recipes. That's ribrub.com. If you don't like my rib rub or rib nuts, I'll give you money back. Do it today. That's Coleman's Dynamic Products at ribrub.com.
Listen.
Did you miss Dr. Ernest Gill from UT San Antonio?
When you're making $455 million off these student athletes and all you can come up with is $5,000, John Calipari makes $8 million a year, and his players are going to get $5,000 a year. The majority of these teams were white men and white males and females. Would this be happening? And I would say no, because their families wouldn't let it happen. But we're letting our kids get pimped.
Join the weekly sports magazine every Saturday, 8 to 10 a.m. on jointedradio.com.
Welcome back to the weekly sports magazine, Dynamic Dave. We spent the first segment of the show talking a little bit about the games, the referees. Now, usually we don't do that, but I just, like I said, there's been just an outcry from a lot of fans who's been complaining about referees and whether or not these games are fixed. You know, there were 1 or 2 people back in the day who would make this argument, but now that you can rewind the tape and you can look at various things, you can look at holding calls that were not made, then it makes you wonder. And I don't know if the league is looking at this, but they need to start paying attention, because if it gets out, or if it starts catching fire that the league is fixed and they want certain teams to get to the championship, then they're going to lose fans. They really are. So let's talk about those games. First of all, let's talk about the Chiefs and the Ravens. I was disappointed. Obviously, I wanted Lamar to win. I wanted him to go to the Super Bowl to shut up his critics. And he's going to take a lot of heat. He didn't play very well last week. Okay? He didn't play very well last week. But was it Lamar or was it the game plan? Okay? Was it Lamar or was it the game plan? So let me go and pull up the box, because I think it's important for us to do this. Final score 17-10. The defense started off and didn't play well at all early on. They finally shut the Chiefs down. To hold the Chiefs to 17 points, and you would tend to believe that if I can hold the Chiefs to 17 points, I'm going to be in that game. But I'm going to be totally honest. I don't think the Ravens were really ever in the game. Okay? They scored 7 in the first quarter, and they didn't score anything else until 3 points late in the fourth quarter to make it 17-10. All right? I was surprised. Chiefs had 230 passing yards. Ravens had 255. 89 yards rushing were the Chiefs, 81. Total yards, the Ravens, offensively outgained the Chiefs. But that was accumulative. But when you look at this game, here's what surprised me. Number one, it surprised me that the defense was allowing them to run all over them, being the Chiefs, all over them in the first half. Okay? But they righted the ship. They kept it close so the offense could do its job. But the offense didn't do the job. Now, as I said, Lamar had he was 20 of 37, 272 yards. He had 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Okay? He had 54 yards rushing. Now, let's take Lamar out of the rushing. Gus Edwards had 20 yards, 3 carries for 20 yards. Zay Flowers, who's a wide receiver, had 2 carries for 4 yards. And Justice Hill had 3 carries for 3 yards. Now, where am I going with this? The Ravens all year long has had more rushing attempts than any other team. They run the ball. Now, certainly Lamar contributed to that. But they weren't running the ball. They came out and had Lamar throwing the ball. And not that he can't throw, but they totally did something opposite of what they were designed to do. Here's a problem. If you are a running team all year long and you get to the big game and you change that up, that usually doesn't work. You got to be the animal that you are. You are a rushing squad. Why weren't you running the ball? It made no sense. The offensive game plan was ridiculous. Okay? And you thought, well, maybe, okay, they're going to figure this out because, let's see, at the half, it was 17-10. In other words, see, they shut the Chiefs out for the whole second half. It was 17-7, I'm sorry. They shut the Chiefs out for the whole second half. Why weren't you running the ball? It made no sense to me. Yeah, Lamar got 54 yards, but why weren't you handing the ball off? Here's the other thing. Did you not know that the Chiefs were going to purposely try to stop Lamar from running? Did you not know that? And did you not put in a game plan to deal with that particular situation? Apparently you did not. You didn't. What about the blitz? Hello? Hey, here's another thing. Why would you try to work in Mark Andrews, who had been out? Okay? Why would you do that? Why didn't you stick with Likely? Huh? Look, Andrews had a broken fibula. So clearly he wasn't in condition. So why would you might want to put him in 1 or 2 plays, but at the end of the day, you should have been going with Isaiah Likely. You wasn't doing that. And more importantly, if you were going to go with Andrews, why didn't you go max protect when they were blitzing all those players? That's what really boggled my mind. And that's why people started saying, man, this stuff is rigged. A blind man could see that they were about to blitz, and you were still sending your backs out. Y'all weren't picking up. It was almost like y'all had never seen blitzes before. And you can say that was Lamar's problem. Oh, he should have did a check down, all this other stuff. He should have changed the blocking assignments, all of those things. And I would argue that you're right. But also, when you saw that they were consistently, my son and I watched the game together. And they were bringing 5 people every time. I'd say 90% of the time they were bringing a minimum of 5 people. Okay? There were times they were bringing 6 and 7. When you go into the halftime and say, hey, look, this is what they're doing. This is what we're going to do. But see, you're a professional team. You don't even have to wait till halftime. Y'all got all those gadgets and gizmos on the sidelines where people can go and look at plays from the previous play. Come on, man, these Microsoft Surfaces, these iPads. You mean to tell me that after you realize that these people are going to blitz, after the first 2 series, you said, oh, it's almost like y'all didn't plan for it. I mean, in the week before, don't you plan, okay, now what if they start bringing blitzes? You got to put yourself in the minds of the other team. You know they got to stop Lamar. So what can we do to minimize that? Well, if I'm on defense, and the Ravens have one of the better defenses in the league this year, you go to your defensive coordinator and you say, hey, look, man, if you wanted to stop Lamar, what would you do? He'd probably say, I'm going to blitz him. I'm going to take away his alleys so he can run. All of that stuff. That's how you build your game plan. It's almost like they were like, we didn't know that was going to happen. Duh. It was amazing to me. In fact, it was shocking to me that this continued throughout the entire game. It didn't cease. And they never changed their blocking assignments. They never pulled everybody at offense to the side. Look, the final score was 17-10. Defense did their job in the second half. Early on in the first quarter, they struggled. Let's be realistic. They struggled. All right? But in the second half, they shut Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City down. Shut them down. The offense didn't show up. Okay? Now, a lot of people are going to blame. Here's the other thing. And I was posting throughout the game. If I'm on defense, I understand what Kansas City can and cannot do. Patrick Mahomes is going to get his, right? But who is his number one weapon? Travis Kelce. Do you not know that? Do y'all know that he wants to go to Kelce? So what do? You coming out playing zone, and Kelce is eating you alive. There were times when Travis Kelce was wide open. What? Why? Look, if you're going to play zone, why don't you play man with the cover? What I mean by that is you put somebody on Travis Kelce to play man, and then you have a safety over the top. Make those other guys beat you. Make them beat you. You didn't do that. What was that all about? And I'm posting, did they forget about Travis Kelce? What the hell are they doing? What are they doing? It wasn't until the second half where they figured out, oh, well, let me put him on man. Here's Travis Kelce's numbers. Okay? 11 receptions, 116 yards. He ate their butts up. It's almost like you didn't even pay attention to him. You didn't even realize that he was on the field. By the way, he breaks Jerry Rice's playoff reception record. Those of you want to, and they were crowing about it on the broadcast, he being Travis Kelce. That's great. But let me ask you a question. Jerry Rice or Travis Kelce? It's not even a contest, bro. Okay? Is he going to be a Hall of Famer? I think Kelce will, yeah. But am I gonna, and by the way, when you look at yardage, Jerry Rice he still had over 800 more yards than Kelce. Okay? So what I'm saying is that if I'm a defensive coordinator, what you have to do, and these people bother me, because what I'm going to do if I'm going to play against you, I'm going to try and take away your number one option. It's like when people played the Titans. They knew the Titans were going to run Derrick Henry. What are you going to do? You're going to stack the box and make the quarterback beat you. That's defense. You're not going to let him get to his bread and butter. You're not going to do that. That's defense 101. So as I criticize the offense, I criticize the defense as well. The game plan for those coaches was terrible. And I know that now some of the coaches have left. They've gotten other jobs. That's fine. But I don't know what Harbaugh was thinking. I don't know who put that game plan together. It was terrible on the defensive side of the ball, and it was certainly terrible on the offensive side of the ball. God, it was terrible. And once you take them out of rhythm, they being the Ravens, it's over. And it was clear Lamar was frustrated, players were frustrated, and by the way, two huge mistakes by Zay Flowers. Number one, a score that would have put them back in the game. He makes a big play down to about the 5 or 6. He gets up, dude, you losing. And you gets up and you taunt the defender. It moves them back 15 yards. It cost them. Okay? What are you doing? Later on in the game, he makes a big catch. He's trying to get to the goal line. He dives, fumbles the ball. Chiefs recover. 2 plays that would have probably, even as bad as the Ravens were playing, had they scored on those 2 touchdowns, on those 2 drives. They had a drive that was down inside the 5, and then that drive that Zay Flowers fumbled the ball. You score on those, this is a different ball game. Mistake after mistake after mistake. And you can't blame Lamar for what Zay Flowers did. He put the ball on the money. Is that Lamar's fault? I get so sick of these people. Well, Lamar can't do this, or any quarter. He can't beat this guy. He can't. Look, there's more than just the quarterback. Now, certainly your play is important, but come on, man. Everybody's got to play their part. This is not an individual sport. This ain't track and field. This ain't tennis where there's one man against another man. You got 10 other guys on the field that's got to do their jobs. Their offensive line didn't do their job. Their defense didn't do their job. Their receivers didn't do their job. And consequently, Lamar didn't do his job. It was a disappointing. Look, had they played a great game and lost, I would feel so much better about this. But what I saw from the coaching staff and that game plan was probably one of the worst game plans that I've ever seen in my life. And there were a lot of professionals the day after saying the very same thing. What the heck was going on with their game plan? I don't know. Inquiring minds want to know. Okay. So, better luck next year, as they like to say. Here's what I think the Ravens need to do. Odell Beckham Jr., see you, bro. You're not even a shadow of your former self. You do nothing. You've done nothing. It's time to go. The Ravens have got to draft a receiver. Okay? And if you don't draft a receiver, you got to go out and get another big name receiver. I think Zay Flowers is going to be very good. Okay? But you need to get a veteran in there. And if nothing else, you got to go out and in the draft and get you another receiver. You got to do that, man. Okay? You got to do that. Just quickly, let me because they're going to be drafting probably 28th or 29th. And I'm just curious real fast, who will they pick? They're drafting 30th. So these mock drafts got them drafting offensive linemen or defensive linemen. I don't know if I do that right now, unless you do something in free agency or if you do a trade. You got to get Lamar some help. You've got to get him some help. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay, so now let me make sure I got everything I wanted to cover in this game. Now, and although the Lions and the 49ers was a more high-scoring game, I'm going to tell you right off the bat who impressed me. I'm going to tell you right off the bat. Jeff Goff did Jeff Goff. He puts up big numbers, but he couldn't make the play that he needed to make under pressure. Brock Purdy, he impressed me. He continues to impress me. Lions jump out to an early lead. It was what? At one point, it was 24-7. Okay? 49ers come back in the second half. They score 17 in the third and 10 in the fourth. And Detroit just looked like we don't know what to do. They looked like a team that had never been there before. Okay? They looked like a team that had never been there before. And then the coach going for two when he didn't need to go for two and all that silliness as well. Look, let me just say this. I know you all are so caught up in these analytic stuff today, but there are certain things that are givens. You know, everybody got to go for 2 now. Oh, well, and you hear these guys, well, you know, the book says. I don't give a damn what the book says. You take the points. Okay? You take the points. That's common sense. You might go for it every now and then, but this argument about analytics, it has ruined baseball, and it has ruined basketball, and it's going to ruin football if they're not careful. There's a thing called gut. Okay? There's a thing called gut. I got to go with my gut. Go with what I know. Okay? Analytics can't deal with it's like statistics. Statistics are for losers. I had a coach who used to say that all the time. You got to go with what you know. It's a feeling about a game that you have to look at. That feeling is important. And it's not going to always be by the numbers. You got to go with what your gut says. And look, I love Campbell, the head coach, for the Lions. For them to be where they were this year was just amazing. The question is, will that team return? Let me ask you a question. Can you say right now definitively that the Kansas City Chiefs will be back where they are next year? I think so, because I think they're going to show up their receivers. They're going to be scary for a while, as long as Patrick Mahomes is playing. Can you say that the Ravens are going to be back where they were? I think potentially they could, but if they don't get any wide receivers, a legitimate wide receiver, they're not. Okay? They're not. 49ers. Do you think that the 49ers will be back where they were this year? Do you think they'll be back next year? I think so. They got an excellent defense. They got an excellent running back in Christian McCaffrey. And Brock Purdy has proven a lot of his naysayers wrong. I'm one of them. The question is, when is that salary cap going to start slapping them? Because I'm going to tell you, the straw that stirs the drink was Deebo Samuels. If Deebo Samuels doesn't play, that's a different ball game. Okay? It's a different ball game. Deebo was a beast. He was a beast. He had 8 receptions, 89 yards. He was tearing them up. And they forgot about the fullback. Juszczyk had 33 yards. Wasn't expecting that. Wasn't expecting that, but I would rather Juszczyk catch the ball more than Deebo. And going into the weekend, we thought, or many people thought, that Samuels was not going to play. But of course, he came out Saturday, playoffs, championship, I'm playing. And when they said he was playing, I knew they were in trouble. The 49ers is the real deal. Okay? They got a heck of a team. They run the ball. They pass the ball. You got a quarterback that doesn't make mistakes. I know people hate that people name him a game manager, but yeah, dude's a game manager. He's a game manager. But he makes the plays when he needs to make the plays. And that's the bottom line on it. So we've got a matchup now of the 49ers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. That's going to be a tough one. If we look at the quarterback matchup, who we got? You got to say Mahomes. You look at the receiver matchup, you got to say the 49ers. You look at the running back matchup, I got to give it to CMC. Okay? I know Pacheco runs hard. I got to give it to CMC. Wow. You look at the defensive matchup. 49ers? This is just a preview of what's going to happen next week. We'll talk about it on the show next week. But I just thought I'd throw that out there because it's interesting, to say the least. It's interesting. Okay? All right, so we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the coaching hires. We've got a little time to talk about that and who didn't get hired. We're going to talk about that. And I think that's all we got for the NFL for this week. Okay? So let's take a break. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave on JoyNetRadio.com.
Ladies, are you looking for high-quality, natural products for your skin and soul? Skintentional is for you. We feature handcrafted, luxurious, natural baths and body care products. At Skintentional, we firmly believe that self-care should be an intentional and enjoyable experience. We strive to infuse every product with a sense of fun and purpose. Crafting each item with love and care, we take pride in selecting only the finest natural ingredients. From luscious shea butter to revitalizing essential oils, every element is carefully chosen to protect, restore, and enhance your skin's natural beauty. We provide skincare specifically with you in mind. Try our soaps, scrubs, and facial oils for children and adults. Skintentional has something for the whole family, including the man in your life. Self-care should be an intentional and joyous experience for all. Go to skintentional.com right now for great discounts and begin experiencing what skincare products should be.
Bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh yeah, at RealRub.com. Holman's Dynamic Pepper Juice is lighting fires around the country. It's the new product from RealRub.com. Use it on meats and vegetables. Add it to your gumbos and greens for an extra punch. Made with all natural ingredients, Coleman's Dynamic Pepper Juice will enhance the flavors of your favorite recipes. Order today on RibRub.com. And while there, be sure to check out some of our other great products. It's developed with love and care using the best all-natural ingredients with no GMOs or preservatives. From snacks to seasonings, Coleman's Dynamic Products has something for everyone. Bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh yeah, at RealRub.com.
LeBron James is the greatest player we've seen this generation. You have to be careful when you start saying, and so, well, he wasn't as good as Michael, or he wasn't as good as Magic. Every generation you get that. You begin to sound like that old man that lives down the street, and every time you walk on his yard, or you even walk by his yard, he's on the porch, and he's got that little crooked finger. He's like, get off my lawn! Get off my lawn! Join me Saturday mornings at 8 for the Weekly Sports Magazine on JoyNetRadio.com. Get off my lawn!
All right, welcome back to the last segment of the hour. Welcome back to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave. We're talking NFL football. Super Bowl is next weekend. We'll give you our picks, and hopefully next week we'll be able to get my son on, talk a little bit about his thoughts as it relates to the upcoming Super Bowl. We'll get into all of that. But I do want to talk a little bit more about some of the coaching hires. All right. All of the coaching vacancies have now been filled. All of them. The last one being the Washington football team. I'm wondering when they're going to finally give them a name. Okay. So all of the coaching hires have been done. Here are two names that didn't get hired. And let me pull up just the coaching hires. But here are two names that didn't get hired. Mike Vrabel and Bill Belichick. Here's another name that many people thought that the head coach or former coach for the Seattle Seahawks. He didn't get hired. Recently, Washington hired, they were the last one. They hired Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator for Dallas. The Commanders. Don't like that. That's not a good hire. But let me go over them. Chargers got Harbaugh. They introduced him last week. The pundits are giving them an A. Commanders hired Dan Quinn. They're giving him a D+. Here's what they said about that hire. Washington was right to part ways with Ron Rivera after 4 tough but ultimately middling seasons. But to go from one aging defensive-minded retread to another is curious considering how forward-thinking the organization appeared to be welcoming both new ownership and front office leadership. Quinn oversaw an opportunistic D with the Dallas Cowboys, no doubt. And he approached the mountaintop before taking the Falcons to the Super Bowl in 2016. He also went just 18-23 with 0 playoff bids after that. Perhaps his experience will help ground a rebuilding team, but this hardly registers as an inspiring and innovative move. They gave him a D+. Okay. Raheem Morris to the Falcons. Many people thought that Bill Belichick was going to get that job. He didn't. All right. They gave him a B. The Panthers hired Dave Canales. Of course, not many people wanted that job anyway. If you're a first-time coach, hey, you'll take a job just to get that experience. He's 42, fresh off his first year as offensive coordinator. Canales could present a genuine pivot for the franchise. They gave him a B+. Okay. Jared Mayo for the Patriots. A lot of people don't know what this is going to do. They gave him a C+. Antonio Pierce for the Raiders, a B-. Brian Callahan, who now is going to hire his dad as the offensive line coach. He takes over for the Titans. Gave him a B-. Mike McDonald for the Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll is out. Of course, he's another name that we thought was going to get hired. He didn't. They gave him a B. That's it. So where's Vrabel and where is Belichick? Okay, here's my thought on Vrabel, and then I'll wrap it up with my thoughts on Belichick. We discovered with reporting that Vrabel had an attitude. Now, I'm saying that, but when you read between the lines, clearly Vrabel thought that he was the god in Tennessee. And he wanted full control. That means over picks. He wanted to be the quasi-general manager as well. Now, that used to happen a long time ago. At one point, Belichick had that. He no longer had it. I think they pulled that from him the last 2 or 3 years. Pete Carroll had it at Seattle. He no longer had that. Andy Reid had it at one point. He no longer had it. We've seen over the last few years that the NFL has went away from coach and general manager. There's just too much to do. You can't have it. It doesn't happen. But Mike Vrabel, that's what he wanted. He didn't want Rand Carthon to be hired. He doesn't like Rand Carthon, which is what came out. And that's part of the reason that the Titans decided that they were going to get rid of him. Now, prior to Rand Carthon, they had a GM by the name of John Robinson. Think about this. He and Vrabel worked hand in hand together. What would you say if I told you that of the 17 picks that those two made, not one of them is in the league today? And if it is, it's only one. It ain't many. Look, did you hear what I just said? They're not on other teams. They're not even in the league. What does that tell you about the evaluation of talent? Now, you're going to tell me that I'm going to give you full reign and I look at the picks that you've made and none of them have panned out? Y'all get that, right? No. Vrabel had an attitude and he had to go. That's why he's gone. All right? And apparently, he still, I don't even recall him even interviewing for any of the new, of the openings. I don't remember them saying that they're bringing Vrabel in. And I think a lot of people are tired of the Belichick way. Because if you look at Belichick disciples, they don't do jack. Josh McDaniel, yeah, you remember him, right? I do. Raiders. They don't do stuff. They don't do well. So why would I keep hiring these guys? And now you're saying, well, wait a minute. What about Belichick, Dave? Belichick, many people were saying that he was a front runner for the Atlanta job. Apparently not. Belichick's 72 years old. And I think a lot of teams started looking at Belichick, and even Pete Carroll for that matter, because he's 72, 73. and saying, hey, game's changing. We want younger people, younger guys. And I think that went against both Carroll and Belichick. And it didn't help of what Belichick did this past year. The sad thing about it is he may not coach again. We'll see. Carroll may not coach again. But I think the league overall, and when you look at these hires, there are a lot of young cats. And look, I got to take my hats off to the league. Apparently, the Brian Flores suit has awakened them because there were a whole lot of black head coaches hired this offseason. More than we've ever seen. So maybe I'm hoping that the league is now over that hump. We'll see as we move forward. But I think Belichick may be done. And I think Vrabel is going to have to humble himself and say, hey, I'm not as good as I thought I was going to be, and learn to do some other things other than think you're going to run a team by yourself. Because your track record isn't that good, bro. It isn't that good. At one point, you probably should have traded Derrick Henry. You could have got some draft picks for that. You certainly should have traded, I can't even think the quarterback's name that threw all those interceptions in the playoff game against Cincinnati. You give up 9 sacks, and you still lose. Come on, man. Come on. All right. So let me make sure I've covered all the NFL stuff for today. One other thing. When we come back, I do want to cover what CBS Sportsline is talking about as far as the awards that people are getting for this year. Some of them, and of course, this is not the official. These are not the NFL awards, but we are going to talk because I agree with a lot of them. In fact, I went through them, and I think I agree with most of them. Okay, so we'll talk about all of that and more when we come back. We also got some NBA talk. I'm going to talk a little bit about Giannis again. I know this happens in the league more so than any other time, but I'm just tired. Okay, let's go ahead and take this top hour break. Back in a moment. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave on JoyNetRadio.com.
It's time for the Weekly Sports Page with the dynamic David Coleman. Stay tuned for thrills, chills, and yes, spills. Oh yeah, and a whole lot of other great stuff. Call 855-525-5683. Tweet your questions at Dynamic Sports PA or Facebook. Drop a line on Dynamic Weekly Sports Show. Sit back, relax, and groove while Dynamic drops sports in your ear hole.
Nebraska wins the game on the final play of the contest. Oh, baby! How about that? Jacked up indeed.
Are you kidding me?
They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow!
Now here's Dynamic David Coleman.
All right, welcome back to the Weekly Sports Magazine, the second hour of the show. Appreciate you joining me. Don't forget to go out and like us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Share it with your friends. Like and share. We are going to start doing some drops that once we start, I'll give you more information about that as well. Don't forget you can download the show. If you missed the show today, you can download it on Spotify. And, of course, you can always go out to YouTube and get it as well. All right? So that's what's on the show this hour. Now, before we get into all the other stuff, the NBA, I want to talk a little bit about, let's see here, where is the awards? Okay, where are the awards? Obviously, the play of the year, the MVP, all of that has been on the agenda this week. So the question is, who got what? And coach it. I'm in Miami. Oh, okay. That's interesting. So let's look at that. Let's see what we got. Where is it? I just had it up and it's gone. Give me a moment here. I'll find it. But I want to talk a little bit about the potential of players this year and where they ended up. Okay. By the way, if y'all want to watch that silly Pro Bowl crap, go right ahead. I'm not watching any of that. By the way, Leslie Frazier has been hired as an assistant head coach. That's interesting for the Seattle Seahawks. That's really interesting. Okay. Just looking at more NFL news, Diggs casts uncertainty about next year as well. Look, there was some issues with him and the quarterback. Okay, Josh Allen. So let me just do a search. I can't believe I can't find this. Let's go back to the home page, because I thought I saved it, but apparently I did not. So am I crazy, or I just noticed that CBS Sportsline no longer has a search option? So let's do this. Control F. Let's do MVP. Here's an interesting article. Best active quarterbacks who ever won a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. Okay. Whatever. All right, so the question is, who will be the MVP of this year? And according to CBS Sportsline, it is Lamar Jackson. Okay? It is Lamar Jackson. Okay? I'm still looking for this, so I'm sorry. Because I had it up because I wanted to talk about it, and all of a sudden, MVP CBS Sports. I'm doing this search while I'm doing the show. I apologize. Okay, NFL honors ballot. This is what I'm looking for. I don't know why it wasn't coming up. That's crazy. Had to go another way. MVP is Lamar Jackson. Okay. It's Lamar Jackson. Y'all agree with that? I think that's right. All right. The final tally, Lamar, Josh Allen, Brock Purdy. Offensive Player of the Year, Christian McCaffrey. Two people, the McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill. I got to say McCaffrey. I agree with that. I agree with the MVP. Now, this is CBS Sports. Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt. I don't know if I want to agree with that because TJ Watt was out the last part of the season. I mean, why can't you say Max Crosby or Myles Garrett? Micah Parsons, although he got exposed. Coach of the Year, D'Amico Ryans. I don't think there can be an argument to that. Don't think there can be. All right. The final tally was Ryan Stefanski for the Browns, Dan Campbell for the Lions, Matt LaFleur for the Packers, and Sean McVay for the Rams. Offensive Rookie of the Year, not an argument, C.J. Stroud. Puka Nacua was on that list as well, but C.J. Stroud, to be a rookie, to do what he did, I mean, the Texans are in good hands as far as I'm concerned. Defensive Rookie of the Year, ironically, Will Anderson. I don't remember where you've had the Rookie of the Year, the Defensive Rookie of the Year, and the head coach as the best on one team. Comeback Player of the Year, you can't argue with this, Joe Flacco. He certainly got Browns fans excited. Others on that list was DeMar Hamlin and Baker Mayfield. Look, DeMar Hamlin, you can't argue about him. In fact, Flacco beat him out by 1 vote. But anytime you come back from the dead, and that's not figuratively, that's literally. and do what you did, yeah, DeMar Hamlin. And then Baker Mayfield. Look, I've never been a Baker Mayfield fan, but I got to take my hats off to him. He played he had a heck of a season. Now, the question is, will he be able to continue that? Who's going to give him a big contract? I think the Bucs stick with him, but we'll see about that. Okay, so those are just some of the names that have been thrown out there. Okay, that have been thrown out there. Very interesting. All right, so what we want to do next is we're going to shift gears and we want to talk a little bit about the NBA. And I want to talk about a couple of people. By the way, Ben Simmons is hurt again. I want to know, does he have pictures of somebody's wives that he's threatening people? At what point do you say, look, man, and look, here's the thing. If he leaves, he got his money. I know everybody see a guy that's 6'10", that got great handles and you want him to be great. But this guy is garbage. Let's be realistic about it. He needs to go. It's time for him to go. The other thing I want to talk about with the NBA, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more in the next segment. Should LeBron James be traded? But we're going to hold that. All right. The NBA trade rumors are floating around, and a lot of these reporters will throw things on the wall just to see if it stick. And certainly you have those conversations, because if you got a talk show, you got to come up with all kinds of stuff to determine, to have something to talk about. Look, I do a talk show. Y'all think this is easy? It's not easy. A lot of people do it for an hour. I do it for 2 hours. So I have to come up with a lot of different things to talk about to have a legitimate show for you guys. I don't have any problem with that. I've been doing it for years. But, some of these things that people say, and one of the things that I don't do, I just don't throw stuff out there just to throw it out there, just to say, make people think that, hey, that's crazy. No, I don't do that. That's called clickbait. I don't do that. I try to speak from an informed opinion, and certainly a lot of it is my opinion, but I like to speak from facts as well. So, Ben Simmons needs to go. Here's the other thing that I want to talk about in this segment as well. The Philadelphia 76ers are my favorite team. Love them. Have been a fan. What made me a 76er fan was Dr. J. I got to be honest with you. I was a Dr. J fan when I was a kid. I knew about the New Jersey Nets. There's a great iconic picture of Dr. J flying through the air with that red and white blue basketball that the ABA, I know some of you young cats don't know what the ABA is or was, but he was flying through the air for the New Jersey Nets with that basketball, getting ready to slam the ball, and that fro. And I've been a Dr. J fan ever since. So I'm a 76er fan. Okay? I am beginning to have some problems with Joel Embiid. Last year I had problems with him because he's 6'10" and thinks he's a guard. He's not. Okay? This is where the league is going. I'm tired of big men thinking they're guards. That's the problem. So a couple of weeks ago he scored 71 points. I watched all of that game. And how he scored those points, he scored it on a number of ways. 10, 12, 15-foot jump shots. But more importantly, a lot of his points were scored in the paint. I've been saying for years that because of his size, there is no one in the league that can handle him in the paint. Not even Joker. You need to get your butt in the paint. There is no way you ought to be standing outside the three-point line with your hands out asking for a shot. There's no way. If you're going to take a three-point shot, that should be in the flow of the offense, not where you're coming down and you immediately stop at the three-point line and then they pass you the ball and you take a three-point shot. That dog ain't going to hunt. We saw that. We saw that. Now, Here's what we're running into with Embiid. He seems to be injury prone. He got hurt again the other night. And then the question has to be asked, because they went to Denver. Why is it that Joel Embiid won't play in Denver? I got a problem with that. Because if you're a great player and you're going up against another great player, because you're basically feeding into this mantra that you're scared of Joker in Denver. You will play when he comes to Philly. See, it doesn't make any sense to me why you will play in Philly when Denver comes to town, but you won't play in Denver when y'all are on the road. Don't make any sense to me, man. Does it make any sense to y'all? I'm just asking. It just doesn't make any sense at all. So I got a problem with that. See, a lot of these young people today don't understand what we got a treat for. As a matter of fact, my son and I were talking the other day. He wants to go see the Lakers and I almost dated myself. I was getting ready to say the Bullets, but the Wizards. And the only reason that he's going to see the Wizards, he want to go see the Wizards, is because LeBron is coming to town. I remember when I was in Atlanta, the last year that Kareem was on his last year, man, I wanted to go to that game so bad. Couldn't get tickets because you knew Kareem was going to play. Now, I'm going to go out to pro basketball. By the way, if you want to get a great site that got all the statistics, you can go to pro basketball, pro football, pro baseball, all of them. Got all the great statistics on there. So let me just do this. All right, let me just pick a player. A player of my era. Well, let's do this. Let's pick Michael Jordan. Okay? Let's pick Jordan. Okay? We'll take Michael Jordan. He played from 85 to 2003. He played from 85 to 2003. Other than the years that he was hurt, let me do this. 82 games. 18 he was hurt that year. 82, 81, 82, 80, 78, 17 he was hurt that year. No, that was the baseball year, the retirement year. 82. Okay, let's pick another one. There's a reason why I'm doing this. Let's pick Jabbar. Okay. Let's see what was Jabbar. Okay. Are you serious? All right. Here's what Kareem. 82, 81, 76, 81, 65. He was hurt a little bit that year. 82, 62, 80, 82, 80, 76, 79, 80, 79, 79, 78, 80, 76. Let's pick Stockton. Let's pick John Stockton. Okay? Look at this. 82, 78, 78, 82. It's just amazing to me. What's my point? Let's pick Embiid. Okay? So far, these are the games that he's played. (31, 63, 64). 51, 51, 68, 66. Let's do LeBron. My favorite player right now. Let's do LeBron. 79, 80, 79, 80, 78, 75, 75. His is not too bad, but the last 6 years, 55, 67, 45, 56, 55. Y'all following me? Let's do Giannis. Okay? Let's do Giannis. Because I think this is really hurting the league. 77, 81, 80, 80, 75, 72. Now, here we go. As of 2019, 63, 61, 57, 63. It's hurting the league. I told you my son wants to go see the Wizards and the Lakers. The only reason he's going because the Wizards are terrible, and everybody wants to see LeBron before he retires, if you've never seen him play in person. Okay? You don't know if they're going to even play. That's hurting the league. That's why they put in this new rule this year that in order to be eligible for postseason awards, you have to play a minimum of 65 games. It's hurting the league. It really is. So my point is, were those guys tougher? I don't know. But I know Embiid is getting on my nerves. And I think we're giving them too much credit. I really do. I really do. It's crazy, man. Let's see what else we have on the agenda here tonight. Coming up in this next segment, we're going to talk a little bit about LeBron and whether or not the Lakers need to trade him. I know that sounds blasphemous, but is it time? We'll get into that here in a little bit. Now, I also want to talk a little bit before we go to break about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Okay? Giannis is a hell of a talent, as is Embiid. But the question is he killing his team? If you get an opportunity, go out to my Facebook page and look at the video I posted of the Nassus. You said who? Exactly. Because if you don't know who that is, number one, you're not a basketball fan, but number two, it's not a surprise because Thanasis is Giannis's younger brother. And the question is, why is he still on the Bucks? And last week we found out that Adrian Griffin made a comment about Thanasis, and all of a sudden he's fired. Remember, the Bucks were 30-13. Wasn't like they were struggling. They weren't playing any defense, number one, and Griffin was a defensive-minded coach. But guess what they did? They, being the Bucks, they went out and got Damian Lillard. And I know we get all caught up in who can shoot a three-pointer. It's Dame time. You know, the one thing I consider a great player is that a player that plays on both ends of the court. Damian Lillard doesn't play defense. That's why your defense is suffering. Go watch a Bucks game. Don't believe me. Before you get mad at me, go pull up a Bucks game and watch Damian Lillard. He doesn't play defense. Dame is on the court for one thing and one thing only, and that's to shoot. That's it. And the reason that you're giving up all those points to these other teams is because you're playing 4-on-5. And you have no bench. Because just think about it. The roster spot that Thanasis is taking up, could you not get a better player? If nothing else, why don't you send him down to the G League? Man, go look at that video. This guy can't hit a layup. When I first saw that video, I was like, am I saying what I'm saying? Is this a professional player? He's taking up a roster. And I think that's hurting the Bucks. Will the Bucks win with Doc this year? No. I don't think they will. I think the East now more than anything else is the Celtics to take. Although they lost to the Lakers the other night, and the Lakers didn't have Anthony Davis or LeBron James. How was that possible? Okay, how was that possible? They lost to the Lakers. So my point is this, And I know in the NFL, in the NBA more so than any other league, one player can dictate who's the coach. We've seen it over and over again. I talked about it last week. We talked about it with Michael Jordan getting Doug Collins fired. We've seen this over and over again. This is nothing new. It's not a surprise. But to fire a coach that's 30-13, and even Jason Kidd came out and said, hey, that's just not right. And I'm paraphrasing. It's just not right. It didn't make any sense. But the problem is Giannis. Giannis is running this team, and Milwaukee has allowed him to do so because they were so afraid that he was going to leave. So they've literally given him the keys to the kingdom. Look, here's what I know. Players can't play and do the front office as well. They can't play and they can't coach. They got to either play or not. And the problem with Giannis right now is that he doesn't get that. And it's going to end up hurting Milwaukee in the long run. It really is. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about LeBron. Is it time to trade him? I don't know. You tell me. We'll get into all of that and more. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave on JoyNetRadio.com.
Hey, beautiful. You look gorgeous. Are you doing something different? There's a healthy glow about you.
Thanks. I'm just my natural self.
Come on. What's your secret?
Okay. Since I found SkinTentional.com, I've been getting a lot of those comments.
SkinTentional.com?
Yes. SkinTentional.com is handcrafted, luxurious natural baths and body care products. Crafted for those with a designer's taste for high-quality skincare products but won't break your bank. From body butter to oils and soaps, SkinTentional has something for everyone, including the man in your life. Get your man some beard balm and oils. And yes, they offer body butters and soap for him as well, without making him smell like flowers. Go to SkinTentional.com and check out their amazing products. They believe self-care should be an intentional and joyous experience for all. SkinTentional.com.
Business owner, can I talk to you for a moment? How many people have come up to you and said, hey, I didn't know you had a business? Yeah, that can happen when you don't advertise. I have a solution for you. Advertise on JoyNetRadio.com and let the world know that you're in business. I know what you're thinking. Advertising is so expensive. I've got a great package for you that will cut your expense and increase your bottom line. It's only $125 for startup and new businesses. Call me, David W. Coleman, at 615-554-0568, and I'll put together a package specifically for your business. Now is the time to tell the world, hey, I'm in business. Come spend your money on quality goods in my store. Let us help you at JoyNetRadio.com. Here's the number. Call me, 615-554-0568. We are here to assist you in building your brand. Coleman's Dynamic Products would like to thank you for all the support you've given us over the years. Our growth could not have happened without your purchases and word of mouth to your friends and family. That says you believe and trust us to provide Coleman's Dynamic Products with no fillers and all natural ingredients. We began with our flagship product, Rib Rub, and now it has expanded into snacks, seasonings, salts, rib juice, and pepper juice. We could not have done it without you. I'm David W. Coleman, founder and president, and I want to personally thank you for the encouraging words and support. Coleman's Dynamic Products will continue to be the best dry marinades, seasonings, and sauces you've ever put in your mouth. That's ribrub.com, RIBBRUBB, and you know what we like to say, bake it, grill it, smoke it, oh yeah.
All right, welcome back to the show. The Weekly Sports Magazine. We're here every Saturday, 8 to 10 a.m. Appreciate all the comments that I get. appreciate you joining the show. Make sure to download the podcast, like and share, and support, and subscribe, because we're going to start doing subscriptions as well. So you'll see more of that coming up here in the near future. This segment I want to talk, and I'm going to spend the majority of this segment on one person, and that person is LeBron James. LeBron James right now is my favorite player. Okay? And it's not what he does on the court that makes him my favorite player. It's what he does off the court. You've heard me talk about this a lot. He's a family man. I saw a piece the other day where this so-called woman is saying that LeBron James has cheated. Look, let me ask you something. What is this mentality now that there are women out there who are trying to destroy positive black men? Now, look, no one has ever said that LeBron cheated or did anything. There's no evidence as of yet. Now, look, I don't put anything past anyone. But right now, until I see some legitimate evidence, I'm not going to listen to a bunch of that stuff. Any of that stuff. But LeBron James, what he does off the court, family man, raised 2 great boys, married to his high school sweetheart, started a school, bought bicycles for all the students, promised that anybody who graduated from the Akron High School would get scholarships. All of this stuff, LeBron James led the way on this. This is why he's my favorite player on and off the court. Let's forget about what he's doing on the court right now. Okay? But right now, LeBron, he's 39 years old. He's played 44 games. Minutes played, 34.7. Field goals per game, 9.3. Okay. Field goal percentage, 52%. He's shooting almost 40% from 3. These are real-time statistics. Again, I'm on ProBasketballReference.com or BasketballReference.com. Go check it out. This is one of the best sites for anything related to sports when you want statistics and team sports. I mean, he's putting up numbers for a 39-year-old that is just simply unbelievable. How is this possible? How is he doing this at 39? But will it lead the Lakers to a championship? I'm going to tell you no right off the bat. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So here's what's going on. Let me just go over the statistics, or I should say the standings right now in the West. You've got Minnesota, Oklahoma City, the Clippers, who are playing, believe it or not, great basketball. I still think something's going to happen. It's the history of the Clippers. Don't get mad at me. Sacramento, Phoenix, New Orleans, Dallas. The Lakers right now are sitting at 9th. They will be in the play-in. Okay? They're at 500, 25 and 25. That's what they are right now. So the question you have to ask, number one, age has always won. Age is going to always win. What LeBron James is doing at 39, I think we all agree, is just remarkable. The numbers that he's putting up is to a point now that people are saying, even guys who are playing now, they marvel at what he's able to do. By the way, I heard some of these guys who, former NBA players that claim that, oh, you can't play with LeBron because you got to change your game. You know what? What is wrong with these players? Let me give you an example. One of my favorite players of all time is Dennis Johnson. You all may not know Dennis Johnson. DJ played for the Seattle Supersonics, and they played, and they won the championship in '79. Okay, he went on and left there and went to the Boston Celtics. As a matter of fact, Moses Malone played for the Houston Rockets for a long time. He ended up going to Philadelphia and winning a championship. What's this stuff about, I got to change my game in order to play with a great player? No, you don't have to change your game. You have to understand what your pecking order is. See, I think today a lot of these guys want to be the number one, although they don't have number one medal. That's METTLE. Okay? You might be a great scorer. You might be a great shooter. You might can put up 40 one night. But a team sport is not about what you do individually. What you ought to be able to do is put up those numbers inside of the concept of the game. So this argument that people can't play with LeBron, you got to change your game. No, it's not LeBron, it's you. It's you who want that status. The classic, when I say this, the classic person who is like this, y'all know him, right? Played for the Celtics. Paul Pierce. He wanted so bad. He hated LeBron because LeBron was getting all of these accolades. Paul Pierce was an excellent player, but he wasn't on a LeBron James stature. We just saw it a couple of weeks ago when Kevin Durant came out and said he ought to be the GOAT. Why isn't he in the GOAT conversation with LeBron and Jordan? See, there are certain players that transcend the game and makes everybody better. Do we need to go back and talk about those games that LeBron literally picked up the Cleveland Cavaliers and carried them to the finals on his back? Do we really need to talk about that? Kevin Durant, when have you ever done that? You haven't. Okay? So there are certain players that you understand that, look, this is what that guy brings to the table. Let me augment my game. If I'm a great player, I ought to be able to play with anybody. You mad because you only had 4 points? Huh? That's what a lot of these players are. I think the players today are weaker than they've ever been. I really do. Could some of these players today play back in the day? No. LeBron James could. Some of these others couldn't. I say all that to say this. We know LeBron now is 39 years old. The Lakers are struggling. They've been struggling for the last few years now. Okay? They've been struggling for a while. The question is, what can the Lakers do to shore up their future? That's the question. Because right now, the Lakers, they'll get into the playoffs, but they won't be able to win it. They won't be able to win it. Okay? So the question is, what should they do? That's my grandbaby, by the way. I'll be done in a little bit, grandbaby.
Come get her when you can.
Okay. The Lakers should trade LeBron James. Now, what could they get on the side? I don't know. But at this point, I think it's time for them to make that move. LeBron has already said that he wants to play with his son. Look, I don't know that his son is going to be able to... I don't know if his son is not even going to get drafted. He hasn't really shown a lot while at USC. Of course, he had the incident with his heart and passed out. But I don't know that he's going to be able to play with his son. It's an admirable thing that you might want, but I don't know that it's going to happen. Okay? I just don't. But I think if the Lakers are looking for the future, then I think it has to happen. Because you don't have anybody else to trade. You can't trade Anthony Davis. Okay? You can't trade him. Who would you trade? That's a good question. That's a good question. Now, they're probably not going to trade him, but that's a good question. Now, here are some of the trade rumors that are going around. Mikal Bridges and Donovan Mitchell among players not available via the trade. So any of that talk, it's out the window. Okay? There are a lot of teams and players are not listening to trade rumors. Okay? Bridges and Mitchell, Lauri Markkanen, Jared Allen, and Karl Anthony Towns fall in that category, according to Yahoo Sports. So that's not going to happen. Lakers, D'Angelo Russell and Gabe Vincent. There's been a lot of talk about that. The Lakers are targeting DeJounte Murray. Will that happen? We'll see. Okay? We'll see. Will that help the Lakers? I don't know. Look, I got to understand, D'Angelo Russell has been playing pretty good basketball as of late. When you start hearing trade talk, sometimes that lights your fire. The Mavericks and the Kings interested in Kyle Kuzma. Kuzma is not going anywhere with the Wizards. The Wizards certainly, how that would happen. Let's see. Wizards seem to be a team most open to doing business on several of their players, including Kuzma. Mavericks are in need of an upgrade at both forward positions, and Kuzma would certainly feel the need. He may not significantly improve Dallas's defense, something the team sorely needs. No doubt about that. Kuzma will provide the Mavericks with another scoring option alongside Luka and Kyrie. The problem is that none of those guys want to pass the ball. Don't know that would work. So those are just some quick trade rumors out there. Okay? I don't know. What could the Lakers do to help this team this year? DeJounte Murray, another scorer, okay. He's much more consistent than D'Angelo Russell. But part of the problem with the Lakers is Anthony Davis. If they could get rid of Anthony Davis, because that's really your piece that you could trade. But I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. Anthony Davis, they're not going to get rid of him. It's just not going to happen. Just not going to happen. But I think the Lakers, if they are legitimate about building for the future, the only piece that they have, because at the end of the day, you trade LeBron, he's going to be a turnstile turner. What I mean by that is that people are going to buy tickets. You just heard me talking about my son wanting to buy tickets to go see the lowly Wizards, only because LeBron's coming to town. It's the only reason. Okay? The only reason. All right? So we'll have to keep our eye on that. Also, the All-Star game has been set. Let's see. There are some snubs. D'Angelo Fox, Derek White have the biggest beefs. Trae Young could replace Julius Randle. Julius Randle right now is out with an ankle injury, and it's going to be a while. Speaking of which, the Knicks are playing pretty good basketball right now. Let me just quickly, and I'll go back to the standings here in a moment. But here's the Eastern Conference starters. Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid. The heck of a lineup. The reserves are Bam Adebayo, Paolo Banchero, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Maxey, and Julius Randle. Of course, Randle is hurt. So, as I said earlier, Trae Young is probably going to take that spot. In the Western Conference, you got Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Nikola Jokic. The reserves, Devin Booker, Stephen Curry, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Karl Anthony Towns. I'm looking at both of these rosters and who would you swap out? I think the Eastern Conference is okay. Who has an argument? How is it that Anthony Edwards is not a starter? I don't know. That makes no sense whatsoever. Here's a couple of guys that didn't even make the roster. De'Aaron Fox. Okay. How is that not possible? Think about this. Fox not making the cut isn't so much about who he should have made it over as it is more evidence that the league probably needs to expand the all-star rosters, giving the ever-deepening talent pool and the scoring boom we're experiencing. Because if 27.2 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 1.6 steals, 38% from three-point at a high volume isn't an all-star, what is? It's a good question. That's a good question. Only 2 of the league's top 15 scorers are not all-stars, Fox and Young. With Young, you can argue the Hawks stink, but the Kings are 5th in the West. That's a good question. Here's another guy, Rudy Gobert. Now, I'm giving you snubs. Didn't make it. The other one, another King, Domantas Sabonis, didn't make it. Nearly averaging a triple-double, 19.9 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists per game. Shooting 62% from the field. Didn't make the All-Star. James Harden. Whatever. I don't think he should have made it. No. Okay, let's look at the West. Who are we going to replace with James Harden in the West? Okay, let's look at the guards. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, Devin Booker, Curry, Anthony Edwards. Who are you going to replace? Who is James Harden going to replace on that? I don't agree with it. Jamal Murray. I think Jamal Murray should have made it. I've been saying for a long time that Jamal Murray is the straw that stirs the drink as it relates to the Denver. We forget prior to Denver winning the championship, Jamal Murray was injured. When he came back, and I know we love to give Joker all this credit, he's a hell of a player. But I'm telling you, it was Jamal Murray who was hitting them clutch shots. Okay? It was him who was hitting them shots. Can't believe he didn't make it. Derek White didn't make it either. Scotty Barnes from Toronto, Trae Young, Kristaps Porzingis. No, I don't think he should have made it. Jared Allen actually was playing pretty good ball for Cleveland. Miles Turner. So those are the snubs for the All-Star game. Okay? Those are the snubs. So we'll see how that plays out. I don't watch the All-Star games. I mean, this weekend they're having the Pro Bowl games, as they're calling them. They've got quarterbacks throwing stuff in a barrel and, receivers catching balls, and they're playing touch football. I've never been an All-Star game fan. I don't watch the baseball All-Star game. I don't watch the football. I didn't watch the Pro Bowl in decades. And I don't watch the NBA All-Star game. I mean, all you got is guys running up and down the court. Nobody's playing defense. It's one of those things where you put it on the TV and you're doing something else and it's just on the TV. And then when you talk to your boys the next day, oh man, did you watch the All-Star game? Yeah, man, I had it on. Did you see so-and-so, so-and-so? Yeah, I had it on. Wasn't a big deal. Wasn't a big deal at all. So the Pro Bowl is going on this week. The NBA All-Star game is in a couple of weeks. We'll see how this all plays out. But I'm not going to watch it one way or the other. I just don't care for it. I just don't. Never have, never will. And I know a lot of people get excited about it, and it's an opportunity for you to see superstars play on the same team. Yeah, I guess you could say that's okay. But to be totally honest, I just don't care. I just don't. You know, I'm one of those people. I'm a sports person. You know what I watch more than anything else right now are cooking shows. So if I'm watching a game and it gets boring, I'm watching Country Kitchen. You know, back then I was watching the Iron Chef. I'm finding a cooking show, something. That's just me. Okay. That's just me. All right. So that gives us up to date, and I will at the break. I'm going to talk. Well, I should say when I come back, we're going to talk a little. We're going to go over the NBA standings and make sure that we've covered a lot of things. I think some of the players are complaining about this 65 game. You got to play 65 games. I think they're right. You shouldn't, unless you were injured, and even if you're injured, you play 50 games and you make MVP, that's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. All right, let's take our last break. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave on JoyNetRadio.com.
Hi, I'm David W. Coleman, host of Black Focus Radio and the Weekly Sports Magazine. We here at JoyNetRadio.com would like to thank you for all the love and support you've given us. Our goal is to keep you inspired and informed daily with quality programming from gospel music, news, talk, and sports. Log on to JoyNetRadio.com for the program lineup, and while there, be sure to make a donation. Then download our app and carry us anywhere in the world. Please continue to spread the word about JoyNetRadio.com. And if you are an entrepreneur or have an upcoming event or you'd like to start a show, let the professional writers and producers here at JoyNetRadio.com help you get the word out. Call me at 615-554-0568 for more details. In the meantime, stay informed and inspired daily right here on JoyNetRadio.com.
David W. Coleman here for Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub and Rib Nuts. Go to ribrub.com, that's RIBBRUBB.com right now, and stock up on the best dry marinades for baking, grilling, and smoking your favorite meats. 3 great flavors, hot and spicy, original, and scorching. Try them at your next cookout and you'll shout, bake it, grill it, shake it, oh yeah! Only one place to get Coleman's Dynamic products, that's ribrub.com. Easy to order, and I'll ship direct to you or to friends and family anywhere in the United States. While on the site, be sure to check out other great items, especially the rib nuts. Who'd have thunk it? Peanuts sauteed in a barbecue marinade? That's just crazy good. Get them at ribrub.com right now, along with other great recipes. That's ribrub.com. If you don't like my rib rub or rib nuts, I'll give you money back. Do it today. That's Coleman's Dynamic Products at ribrub.com.
Listen! Did you miss Dr. Ernest Gill from UT San Antonio?
When you're making $455 million off these student athletes, and all you can come up with is $5,000, John Calipari makes $8 million a year, and his players are going to get $5,000 a year. The majority of these teams were white men and white males and females. Would this be happening? And I would say no, because their families wouldn't let it happen. But we're letting our kids get pimped.
Join the Weekly Sports Magazine every Saturday, 8 to 10 a.m. on JoyNetRadio.com. All
right, welcome back to the last segment of the show, Black Focus Radio. No, this is not Black Focus Radio. It is the Weekly Sports Magazine. By the way, don't forget to join Black Focus Radio on Monday. We talk about all the things that are coming up in the political world. We'll get into that on Mondays. Very interesting things happening. I hope y'all are going to vote. But anyway, before we get out of here, there are a couple of things I do want to cover. And we didn't talk much about college basketball today, and we will do that. And just quickly, let me wrap up this NBA thing, and then I'm going to go over to some of the college basketball games that are taking place today. We're in February, so March is right around the corner, and we're going to start talking March Madness. If you're Razorback fans, good luck with that. And I'll tell you the games that's going to happen on February 3rd. And by the way, Let me do a shout out real fast to Dr. Karan Lott. It is her birthday today. Beautiful woman. Hope you have a great day today. Okay. So let me just wrap up this NBA talk real quickly, because I found the list that I've been looking for. Here are the names that potential trade candidates real fast. We talked about DeJounte Murray for the Hawks. Bogdanovich, also for the Hawks. Zach LaVine for the Bulls. He's he's got a $49 million player option. It doesn't really go into say who's going to be traded or where they're going to. We talked about Kuzma. Jeremy Grant for the Trailblazers is a possibility. Malcolm Brogdon for the Trailblazers as well. Bruce Brown for the Raptors. P.J. Washington for the Hornets. Luke Kennard, the Grizzlies. Dorian Finney-Smith for Brooklyn. Tim Hardaway Jr., the Mavericks. That's interesting. He had a good game about a week ago. Andrew Wiggins, I should say. Look, speaking of a team that is done, Golden State Warriors are done. PJ Tucker for the Clippers. D'Angelo Russell, we've talked about that. Tyler Hero. Miami's seem like they've been trying to get rid of Tyler Hero for the last 5 years. Quentin Grimes, Davis Bertrands, Robert Covington, Tennessee State player, by the way. Harrison Barnes. I didn't know he was still in the league. Yeah, I did. Anyway. DeMar Rosen for the Bulls. Obi Toppin, who's been playing very well for the Pacers. That'll be a surprise. Pacers are in the hunt. Gary Trent Jr., Kelly Olynyk, Tyus Jones, and that's the top 25. All right. So before we get out of here, let's cover a little college basketball. I'm going to talk quickly about the Razorbacks. Don't know what's going on with that team, but they suck. And what's going to happen going forward, we don't know yet. But this is certainly a disappointment for the Razorbacks, who has treated Razorback fans with Sweet 16s and Final Fours the last 3 or 4 years. Here are some games that are going to take place tomorrow. UConn is probably the best team in the country. I've seen them once this year. I hope to. I said take place tomorrow. To take place this afternoon. If I have some time, I'm going to watch that game. I'm just looking at the top 25. You've got Marquette, number 9, playing Georgetown, who is terrible. You've got Texas playing at number 25, TCU. You've got number 17, Utah State, traveling to San Diego State, which reminds me, there have been so many top teams this year that has lost games to teams on the road. I've never seen this happen before, but it's peculiar. A lot of people saying, oh, it's the transfer portal, it's whatever. I don't know, but it's just odd. Houston travels to number 8, Kansas. That's number 4, Houston. Number 23, Oklahoma travels to UFC. Number 16, Auburn, who was on a run, and all of a sudden they hit a wall. They travel to Ole Miss. BYU, number 22, travels to West Virginia. Number 15, Cincinnati, travels to Texas. I should say number 15, Texas Tech hosts Cincinnati. Iowa State, number 12, they travel to number 18, Baylor. Number 7, Duke. At number 3, North Carolina. By the way, that rivalry is gone. It's over. It couldn't happen to another 2 better schools. I'm tired of hearing about them. Tulsa travels to number 20, FAU. Mississippi State travels to number 24, Alabama. And number 5, Tennessee travels to number 10, Kentucky, which ought to be a pretty darn good game. If I'm going to watch a game on Saturday, it would probably be the Kentucky and Tennessee game. So we'll see how that continues to play out as well. And no doubt about it, I think a lot of people are going to tune in for the Duke North Carolina game because of the tradition. You know, they used to say that this was one of the best rivalries in sports. 7 miles separate both of the campuses. I don't know that it's that way anymore. So we're getting into, beginning of February, and you can go out There are a number of people. Jerry Palmer's already put in his bracketology. There are a lot of teams in. To me, I think right now it's too early to even say. I think when we get about mid-February, I think you can start, I know these guys put this out early for a reason, but I think when you get to about mid-February, that's when things begin to get very serious, okay? And it's going to be interesting. Arkansas fans are smarting that no one's there. They're not going, so we'll keep you posted on that as well. But I'm going to start watching a little more college basketball. It's great. I've been focusing a lot on the NBA this year, more so than ever before. I've watched a few games, but I've been focusing a lot on the NBA because I think the NBA is must-see TV this year. I like it because of the changing of the guards. Certainly you have Boston in the East, but when you look at the West, who knows? Can Oklahoma City continue its run? Will Phoenix ever get it together? What about the Clippers? Right now the Clippers are number 3 in the standings. Will they ever get it together? I don't know. It's going to be fun to watch as we move forward. Okay? Now, I want to remind people as we get ready to wrap up the show, I appreciate everybody joining the show. Don't forget that you can now download the show on Spotify. You can also go out and I post all the shows now on YouTube. I know I had said that for a while, and at one point I was doing it, but I finally got this video thing down the way I like it. I've had to kick out some money for some software, but that's fine because I want to bring you a quality show, not just from content, but the way it looks. And there will be more tweaking as we move along, but I really appreciate everybody supporting the show. Please tell a friend, share the show. If you missed the show, you can always go out to Spotify and YouTube and download the show as well. Okay? So do that, and we'll continue to bring you great content. Don't forget, next week we'll be doing our Super Bowl picks. We'll break down the Super Bowl. I did it a little bit today, but we'll get a little bit more in depth as far as what the Super Bowl and what my expectations are. It ought to be an interesting game, I'm going to tell you. Okay? And also by next week, we'll have more news about who's being traded where as we move to the February 8th NBA trade deadline. We'll also make sure that we cover college basketball and talk a little bit more about how we're going to head into March Madness. So tons and tons of stuff to continue to talk about. I appreciate your support. We got to get out of here. Once again, thank you for listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine with David Coleman.
Thanks for listening to the Weekly Sports Page with Dynamic David Coleman.
On Dice Stripes, ice cream, alert, 654 Jose. Okay, 1-0.
Tune in every Saturday morning from 9 to 10.
Check it. Brown Richmond, 96 double. 96 double. Check, what a player, what a player.
Until next week.